and welcome to my drum kit building and beat making video. In this video, we're going to be learning how to build our very own digital drum kit using household items. You may have heard of people using pots and pans and wooden spoons and buckets and that sort of thing for a drum kit. We're going to be doing that, except we're going to be beefing up our drum kit with special tricks from the jazz and rock drummers world, plus special audio effects, filters and techniques from the electronic music production world. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to record all of our items and prepare them inside an app known as a sampler or a sampling app. The one we're going to use is called Koala Sampler, and it can be found for $6 at the App Store. Apart from that, you'll need only your household items or various things that you can find around the house. And if you can't use Koala app, or if you can't get Koala app on your device, any sampling app will be okay. Let's learn the basics of recording using the Koala Sampler. To record, you simply hold one of these red squares and it will begin recording. It stops the moment you take your finger off. And it will begin recording. You can edit this and where it starts and finishes by hitting the edit button and dragging this slider. And it will begin recording. This will be very, very important to us when we need to clean up our samples later for our drums. You can also stack samples. Simply drag one on top of the other and choose mix. You can adjust your volumes here on this dial. You can adjust your pitch. Also very important later when we go to tune our drums. I'd like to add a clap to this, but I can't because my recording samples mode will mean that the moment I take my finger off, it stops recording. So I have to change the mode. Choose these three bars here, go to settings, and turn off hold to record. Now this will be tap to record. In this way, we're going to be creating all of our drum samples for our drum kit. Finally, as you're recording, watch this level meter. If it's too loud, it will distort and it won't sound any good. In the next section, we're going to learn what to record and we're going to get recording. All right, we have all of our items ready here for recording. And with our trusty drumstick, we might start with the hats. Remember, if you need to take your finger off to do some of this recording, you can put it into that record mode, okay? Hold to record, you have to have that turned off. Great, so I have my hat. We might try a slow drag. How about a fast one? Moving forward, let's see what else we've got here. We've got a book. We can use that as our snare drum. Next up, we have our cymbal. Now I'm going to put the coins inside of here, creating what drummers call a sizzle. You hear that rattling effect? Drummers might use like paper clips or small metallic objects fastened to their ride cymbal or something like that to give it that extra sizzle and sparkle. We're going to use coins. Here we go. Pretty happy with that. Let's move on. We have a cowbell here. All right. All right, let's go for it. Pretty happy with that too. All right, what else have we got? Our tea towel and our tom drum. All right, so the tea towel goes on top of the drums. This gives it that. You can also tune the drum with your hand by applying pressure and taking pressure off. Excellent. All right. That does it about, I think, for our drum kit. Alright, now before we can play our drum kit, we have to clean up our samples. That means fixing them up, making them play properly, okay? So here we have some samples, for example, that's our plastic bucket, which is going to act as our toms. Now if we go to edit mode, you can see we've got a lot of bucket shots. There, there. From memory, I think I like the third one, so let's have a look at that. Great. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to go through and you want to choose your favorite hits. And you want to line them up at the start of the sample so that when you play them, they immediately trigger. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure each one of these samples is on one shot. That means when you take your finger off, the sample keeps playing. Otherwise, your samples are not going to play properly. All of your samples have to be what they call a one-shot. Now, you can use extra things that you find around the place. Like car keys are great for adding extra sizzle to the snare drum. I'm going to add some vocal effects to this. To my snare, I'm going to add a I'm going to stack that up together with this and mix it. I don't need that anymore. To this one, I might add another vocal sample. For example, now stack that up. Mix it. Put it back on one shot. Delete my original. Once you've done that, your samples are all prepared. In this step, we're going to start putting the samples in places that helps us play them easier. I like to have my kick drum down the bottom here, and the snare here. The hats, this one, I like to have it here, right next to my snare. This is my cowbell, right above my hat is where I like to have that. Okay. And I like to have my crash right above my kick. Finally, we get to the toms. You're going to copy the toms over. So you have 3 toms. Finally, we're going to create dummy clips. Dummy clips will mean that while I'm playing, if I accidentally hit something, it's not going to start recording because these are all blank spots. To do this, you just quickly tap them so they make a recording, and then turn the volume down. Now when I accidentally hit them, nothing happens. Now comes the fun step. We're going to start adding effects. At any stage, also remember, you can add your own effects to layer up your samples. For example, here I have a candy wrapper. Maybe that could be fun as part of my snare. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my blank slots and delete it. Great. Now I'm going to trim that. Add it to my snare. I'm going to now turn the volume of this one back down so it's a dummy clip. Great. What else have we got? Our car door. This sounds much better when you pitch it down. I might pitch down a little bit more. Dummy clip. Slow drag, fast drag. Let's pitch these drags up. Dummy clip. This is our hat, so it's going to be really high. Excellent. Dummy clip, dummy clip, dummy clip. That cowbell, that mug cowbell actually sounds pretty good. Might even turn it up. You can always have more cowbell, can't you? Here are my 3 toms. I like to pitch them up at different pitches, 3 different pitches, to give me some extra room to move. Finally, we have our crash. With the sizzle on that. You know, I wouldn't mind an extra sort of fattening of that sample, so I might add some vocal sample to this. Take one of my dummy tracks and throw that in the bin. And I add a drag that onto there, mix it up, turn the volume of this down so it's a dummy track, and with the one shot selected, I think we're ready to play our drums. Now that we have our drum kit all prepared, let's learn how to actually make a beat. You're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in your head. The 1 goes on this kick, 1. The and goes on this hat, 1 and. So far we have 1 and, kick, hat. The 2 is on the snare, 1 and 2. And finally you have the next and, which is a hat again. That's your basic beat. From here, you can add your own variations and patterns. For example, 2 kicks. Or you might want to go Caribbean. You can try Queen. Or you could simply try a kick and kick snare combination. Well, that does it for our beat sampling and beat making video. I hope you've enjoyed watching this and learning about this as much as I've enjoyed making the video. Happy beat making.